coming to be like us. You look at John 11:35, when the Bible is short. The only reason I remember that is because it's the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. If you can say Jesus wept, you now have memorized a verse in the Bible. John 11:35, Jesus wept. It's a wonderful story. Do you know why Jesus wept? That's what makes the story so beautiful. He wept because he was standing with Mary and Martha, whose brother had been dead for 4 days, and he was in the tomb already. And Jesus walked with them down to the tomb, and they were upset and they were irritated because they had sent a messenger for him a long time ago. When he first fell ill and looked like he was going to die, they knew where he was, down across the river, and they got some messengers. Go down there and tell Jesus to come back because he loves us. He stays in our home when he comes to Bethany. He would be here right now if he knew Lazarus was about to die. Go get him. And Jesus deliberately waited, the Bible said. He got the message, and then he waited. The disciples were like, what are we doing? Well, let's just wait a while. And then they came 4 days late, and he's already been in the grave. And they're upset at him, rightfully so. They knew they got the message to him. And he says, do you not know that I'm the resurrection? I know, Lord, you're the resurrection and the life. I know when the resurrection day comes, I know he'll be resurrected. I know. But right now, we've lost him, and you could resurrect him. You could have saved him if you'd been here. And then the other sister, they're not together, and the other one jumps on him the same way. If you'd been here, Master, if you'd have just been here. Isn't that the plight all of us have? Isn't that what we all pray? I prayed that when my father died. Where were you, God? Why didn't you do something about it? My dad was healthy. He wasn't supposed to die. Where were you? All of us have done that. And that's what they're doing. And then Jesus walks with them to the tomb. And then John captures just in those 2 words, Jesus wept. Now, that might not mean much to you if you don't know the story. The story is Jesus knows why he walked down there, and he knows what he's fixing to do. One of those one-time phenomenons, he's fixing to call this man from the grave. They're going to say, he's going to say, roll that stone away from the door of the tomb. And they're going to say, no, Lord, by now his body's decomposing. There will already be the stench of decomposition. He's been in the grave 4 days. And they said it will stink by now, meaning it's decomposing. No. And he rolled the stone away. He knows what he's about to do, and he calls out, Lazarus, come forth. And the Bible tells us Lazarus, still wrapped in all the grave clothing, comes walking out of that grave in mystery. What in the world? What a phenomenal story. And that's why those 2 words are so much more phenomenal. Jesus wept because he knew what he was fixing to do. Would you weep if you knew you were God and you were fixing to call a man from the grave and everybody there was going to drop their jaw and forever be stunned at what you could do? Would you be standing there crying with 2 friends? Or wouldn't you be saying, hey, stop crying. Hold on just a minute. I got to show you something here. Just hold on. Hold on. Trust me. Stop crying. Watch this. But not Jesus. Why was he weeping? And that's where you see that peek into why he came in the first place. He came to feel us. One verse describes him this way. We don't have a high priest who can't be touched with the feelings of our sicknesses. Why isn't our high priest untouched by the feelings of our sickness? Because he's been where they are. He has walked into our sick rooms. He has stood beside our graves, and he has felt the anxiety and the pain and the brokenness of our human hearts. One of the largely overlooked predictions of the coming of the Messiah. You know, we got all the predictions. He was going to be born to a virgin girl. He was going to be born in Bethlehem. Wise men would come from afar, and we got all those details of that worked out. He would ride a foal, a donkey into Jerusalem and be crowned as king by the people and so on and so forth. And one of the largely overlooked descriptions of him that I just love in Isaiah is that Isaiah described the coming Messiah and said of him, he will bind up the broken hearts. That was the description of the coming king. The king they thought would overthrow the oppression of other countries who had ruled them. And in the middle of powerful description comes this from Isaiah, and he will bind up their broken hearts.